Hello, my name is Rhea Dadiala. I'm currently pursuing my undergraduate degree at the Department of Mechanical Engineering in RV College of Engineering, and today I'll be presenting my technical seminar on green manufacturing. So, what exactly is green manufacturing? It is an emerging sustainable solution for production and manufacturing, and it has the potential to tackle the world's environmental impact issues that we face today. It's basically defined as the renewal of production processes and the establishment of environmentally friendly operations within the manufacturing field. So, it's a system that basically integrates product and process design issues of manufacturing, planning, and control in a manner that identifies, quantifies, um, and accesses the manage of flow of environmental waste with the goal of reducing and ultimately minimizing the environmental impact while also trying to maximize resource efficiency. In green manufacturing, every stage of the manufacturing process has to be considered. Right from the material selection up until the end of life stage, every step is optimized so that its environmental impact is reduced. So, why is green manufacturing important? In today's day and age, because of the global climate crisis, governments are implementing more environmental legislatures which industries have no choice but to adhere to. And the recent climate disasters have really put in perspective what we must do as citizens to tackle this issue and try our best to undo the damage that has been done for years. One of these methods is through green manufacturing. And some examples of the recent natural disasters that have occurred as a result of climate change are the cyclone of Idai and cyclone Kenneth, which took the lives of more than 1,000 people in South Africa and devastated millions more. Another example is the Australian bushfires. In the start of 2020, Australia experienced its worst ever bushfire season, following on from its hottest year on record, which left the soil and the fuels exceptionally dry. In South Asia, over the last year, deadly floods and landslides have forced over 12 million people from their homes in India, Nepal, and Bangladesh. The region's monsoon rains are being intensified highly by the rising sea surface temperatures in South Asia. And the higher sea temperatures linked to climate change have doubled the likelihood of drought in the Horn of Africa region. Severe droughts in 2011, 2017, and 2019 have repeatedly wiped out crops and livestock. Another disaster due to climate change is the drought that Indian cities will be facing by the end of 2020. An Indian government think tank has predicted that 21 Indian cities will be out of groundwater by 2020, and the impact of future droughts in India brought upon by climate change will put the entire country at risk unless stronger regulations are put in place. So, the industry of manufacturing and production has taken the threat of climate change too lightly up till now, and a change has to be put in action for us to effectively reduce the damage done on the environment and ultimately achieve the goal of significantly reducing our carbon footprint. Some of the benefits of green manufacturing are threefold. The first one being the environmental benefits, of course. Anything that serves to promote a cleaner environment obviously has numerous benefits. Green manufacturing has a substantial positive impact on the environment. Its main goal itself is to control the amount of waste being generated by industries to a minimum level, which helps ecology and ultimately improve its health. Industrial waste is generated in enormous amounts, and one of the most devastating effects is water pollution. Another one of green manufacturing's goals is to reduce landfill waste. For example, since steel can be recycled and repurposed into entirely new products, less waste steel is deposited into landfills and damage from harmful chemicals leaching into the water supply is reduced. Traditional manufacturing processes focus heavily on processing of raw materials at the expense of the environment. And green manufacturing not only represents a change in the way these materials are handled, it also emphasizes responsible waste management and recycling in the post-production. Energy conservation is also another important benefit of green manufacturing. Using repurposed scrap metal, for instance, it uses much lesser energy than the production of steel from raw materials such as iron, coal, and limestone. The second benefit includes all the economic benefits of green manufacturing. Industries can also benefit from the reduced production costs, which are typically the result of upgrading production facilities to include green building technologies such as solar and wind power. These businesses also become eligible for special green incentives and tax credits. Adopting green manufacturing also promotes a positive image of an industry, as the customers feel more inclined to support an industry that is environmentally responsible. And market trends have also shown an increase in the sale of environmentally friendly manufactured products. For example, in the automotive industry, car users are now more interested in buying energy efficient cars that emit less carbon monoxide rather than energy consuming high powered vehicles. The third benefit of green manufacturing includes all the technological benefits. Green manufacturing spins off a lot of research and development projects. Each of this project enhances our technology. For example, in the automotive industry, with the increasing development of hybrid cars, it's bound to replace all fuel powered cars. The need for greener products has produced a more advanced technology. And today there is a plethora of new and emerging technologies that aid in both making the traditional business greener as well as creating completely new ones. The examples can be classified into 5 broad categories. The first being carbon sinks, and this category consists of emerging technologies related to capturing carbon and storage. The second one is efficient fuels. This category encompasses a class of technologies that use cleaner fuels for generating power. The next one is green transportation, which includes electric vehicles, fuel cells, and biodiesels. And the last one being industry efficiency. This category refers to the use of green production methods and technologies in traditional industries such as iron and steel, cement, chemicals, etc. And multiple such technologies are emerging in each of these industries. So the main areas of application in green technology include lean manufacturing, which basically pays attention to the waste generated and energy reduction in streamlined logistics. It's applicable for materials reuse and recycling. Product design, in which the use of recycled materials designed for manufacturing and assembly principles and designed for service, disassembly and recycling principles are implemented. It is also applicable in industries such as the semiconductors and electronics industries, as well as automobile design and manufacture. And some example of how exactly green manufacturing has been implemented in these industries are: one is in green auto manufacturing and the green manufacturing of steel. In the auto industry, green vehicles significantly reduce the pollutants that directly contribute to climate change, and this sector has definitely made significant strides in terms of green manufacturing. Green vehicles are also more consumer friendly as they get better gas mileage, and manufacturers have been able to bring down prices. In the green manufacturing of steel, traditionally steel is produced by heating iron oxide and carbon, leading to large amounts of carbon emissions. And this conventional method is responsible for a great deal of the greenhouse gas emissions. So the implementation of green manufacturing is done at every single step of the product design and development process, and the steps involved in the product development process broadly include design and production, procurement of materials, the manufacturing processes, distribution, and finally the end use at the customer level. So at the design and production stage, the design of any product must be done in compliance with government regulations, and it also includes selection of non-toxic materials and making sure of recyclability, and also conducting life cycle assessment, in which manufacturers must consider the life cycle of the product as well as of the materials that are used. At the procurement stage, the measures taken are the recirculation of packaging and using eco-friendly supply. At the manufacturing stage, a number of measures are taken, which mainly include resource-efficient manufacturing processes and energy-efficient manufacturing processes, as well as emission and toxic-free processes. In the distribution stage, the main measures that are taken are making sure that the packaging materials are returnable, reusable, and recyclable. And finally, once the product reaches the customer, the product has to ensure that it should use low energy, and there should be an emission-free use of the product, and also low consumable use of the product. The International Organization for Standardization has also implemented certain regulations. The ISO 14000 Environmental Management Standard exists to help organizations minimize how their operations negatively affect the environment, comply with applicable laws, regulations, and other environmentally oriented requirements, and continually improve on the above. It is the ISO 14001 is an internationally accepted specification for an environmental management system, that is the EMS. It specifies requirements for establishing an environmental policy, determining environmental aspects and impacts of products, activities, and services, planning environmental objectives and measurable targets, the implementation and operation of programs to meet objectives and targets, checking and corrective action, and management review. And in order to obtain the ISO 14001 certification, the certain criteria have to be fulfilled, such as reduced release of pollutants, energy saving, resources saving such as water saving and paper recycling, and the prevention of potential hazards to the environment. So, across the globe, certain countries have taken measures to implement green manufacturing. Some such countries are Japan, where they have offered tax cuts or rebates for consumers who scrap their old cars and buy more energy efficient and environmentally friendly vehicles. In Germany, they have offered to pay consumers 2,500 euros for scrapping old cars to buy new, cleaner, and environmentally friendly vehicles. And in China, they have plans to subsidize the purchase of energy efficient cars and home appliances to replace older models. So, the situation of green manufacturing in India is one that requires immediate attention. This is because in the rapid economic and industrial growth, coupled with the urbanization in India, has come at the cost of increasing the greenhouse gas emissions and rising demand for scarce resources like water, and also increasing waste generation, particularly from urban centers. And today, India is the fourth largest economy and the fifth largest greenhouse gas emitter in the world. During the 18-year period between 1990 and 2008, India's carbon dioxide emissions increased by more than 150%, placing it just behind China. But today, a number of schemes have been put in place to encourage the growth of sustainability, such as the Indian Renewable Energy Development Agency, that is the IREDA. One such case study done on an industry that has implemented green manufacturing is the Murray, Ohio Manufacturing Company, where they basically wanted to develop ways to reduce their scrap metal. So the way the scrap metal was being generated was by the depth of the draw on the metal sheets, and since their machines created severe deep draws, it would tear and mar the metal sheets. And they were using a chlorinated oil with an additive of graphite to create heightened lubricity, because as the oil was their stamping lubricant. So they basically looked into two different chemicals, that is the dry coating and cold coat chemicals. In dry coating, what they observed was that they needed costly machinery, and the chemicals actually made the sheets even more slippery. But with the cold coat chemical, they observed that the cost of machinery was lesser, and it was a non-oil lubricant, and the scrap metal went from 9% to 1/10 of 1%. Their tool life also increased, and their polish time went from 3 to 4 days to once a day. Its non-oil nature reduced toxicity in their waste stream, and the cold coats removal requires a warm alkaline bath, which eliminated the need for hazardous cleaning agents. This also decreased the spilling and dripping, which allowed for cleaner facilities. So this is an example of how one industry made a simple change that decreased their negative impact on the environment drastically with a simple change. So some of the challenges that we face today are the first one being in the field of green manufacturing are as following. The first one being the long-term effort, which basically means that implementing green manufacturing requires a lot of effort from the manufacturer, and essential education and training must be provided to the manufacturer to ensure the proper success of actually implementing green manufacturing. The second issue is the investment. So industries they have to make a large investment in different processes like water treatment, waste treatment, and emission control. And these fields, they keep increasing the production cost, and set a higher allocation for them, it might result in a lower profit margin. Implementation of green manufacturing also requires expenditure in testing, capital equipment, and the certification of ISO. The next challenge is the increase in production cost. With all the spending, as I mentioned, in the investment, this results in an increase in the production cost as well. The next challenge faced is the lack of awareness. Many people are not aware of the situation at hand, that is the global climate crisis, and how exactly we can tackle it. Another challenge faced is the engineering advancements, and this challenge is posed to the engineers. So they have to weigh between product reliability and disassembly or assembly during the design of the product. And trying to tackle this, they experience a tight process management under the policies of green manufacturing, and they have to modify the supply chain at every level. And basically, engineers not only bear the responsibility on a technological aspect, but they also face the social responsibility as well. So in conclusion, we can say that green manufacturing is definitely vital to our strategy to tackle the climate crisis, and but but today's day and age we need more awareness and of course more actual implementation of these policies, because the earth's resources have been depleted to a point of total exhaustion, and soon there will be none left for our future generations. And green manufacturing is a stepping stone, but it is definitely necessary and will create a large impact in industries all over the world. With that, I'd like to conclude my technical seminar. Thank you.